Today we're going to show you how, if you don't have a big budget to spend, you can still do a very nice historic tour of St. Thomas.
We spent just $28 a person to see 400 years of history downtown.
Hi, I'm Crystal.
And I'm Marshall.
And welcome back to the channel. On our channel, we talk about ships, trips, and tips. All about cruising. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. And if you like this video, be sure to give it a like.
So let's set the tone. It was a particularly hot and humid day in port with rain that came and went a number of times. So we happily got off the ship, and I would say that after a minute or so, we were feeling pretty sticky as we were going through the port. And if you remember, we did have a quick rain shower as we were making our way to the taxis.
Mm-hmm. So speaking of taxis, this was the first money we spent. It was $6 per person to hop on this open air trolley to go downtown.
That works. Trolley's maybe too nice of a word, but it was definitely transportation.
It was an open air vehicle.
Think of a mix between a trolley and a pickup truck. Then you have it.
They stopped part way.
Yeah, I thought this was really ingenious. Like, don't take too much time to collect all the money in the beginning, because there's taxis and vehicles all around. And then when you get off at the end, people could straggle away. So this gentleman stopped at a pull-off next to a cemetery to collect the money. And believe me, everybody paid willingly because we were in the middle of nowhere next to a cemetery. So it was brilliant.
Our first stop downtown was we walked through some of these really old alleyways. So you have got to check it out if you're in St. Thomas. Just meander around through these little tight stone-covered alleyways, and over on either side there are restaurants, there are bars, there's art galleries or little shops. It's just so unique to have these very old, narrow alleyways.
And if you read all of the plaques and speak to the locals, apparently every 5 steps there's buried treasure that someone hasn't found, because
Really?
It is very pirate focused in terms of their history. So it's kind of unique as you're walking around at these fancy eateries in the old buildings to think about pirates walking around and through the alleyways.
That's wild.
Yeah, it's cool to think of that. But our first stop was kind of hidden. It's really 2 blocks from the main downtown, and many people don't know about it.
Yeah, so you go uphill to Crystal Gate, and it is the synagogue, a very old, unique synagogue. Unique because of the floor.
Yes, it's one of 4 synagogues that have a sand floor. That's the first unique thing. The second unique thing is I believe it is the oldest continuous in-use synagogue in the Western Hemisphere, certainly under the American flag. And the other thing is they allow you during their visiting hours to just walk in and take it all in without having to shell out any money. It's really a wonderful thing that it's just open for you to kind of feel the place.
Mm-hmm. Now, we did go to a synagogue in Curacao, which is also a sand floor, but you do have to pay a fee to get in and to see the museum. But in St. Thomas, And there was a man there that was giving tours.
Mm-hmm.
He was explaining things. You could ask him questions. It was almost like a one-on-one situation, and it was fabulous.
Yes. Now, in addition to the sanctuary, in the back of the sanctuary, they have some museum-like displays, and they have a wonderful small gift shop that are both musts if you do go there. And again, it's free, but if you want to, obviously, they would gladly sell you some sort of gift or something that you can take from it as a memory. It was really a very special place. After finding our peaceful spot, we decided that it was time to venture on, and at least it was downhill. And so we were walking downhill, and guess what happened? The second rain shower hit. So we had to scramble a little bit.
Fortunately, there was this guy saying, "Oh, come over this way."
I didn't even know what he was doing, but I thought he was just saving us. But he,
So he had some tables and chairs set up, and there was, I don't know if it was an awning or something like that. So we went under there, and then there's this little cafe bakery place, and we're like, that's a nice surprise. That's a good way to spend a little rainy time.
Yeah.
So they had pastries, and they made also fresh sandwiches and fresh smoothies. So I got a smoothie.
I think I got a Fanta.
Yeah, you got a Fanta, and we got a baked something to share. Pastry.
It was perfect. It was like this oasis, not out of the dry weather, but of the rain, where we could just sit, relax, talk about the synagogue and what we wanted to do while the rain finished up.
Yeah, so how much did we spend there?
I think only I think $12 total, so we can say $6 each.
Each, okay.
So really, right now, we're each spending $12 so far on this trip.
And the staff there in that bakery were super, super nice.
And then the rain stopped. So we were venturing forward, and we went back into some of the alleyways and got more of the vibe of downtown. And as we were heading to our next stop, which was the fort, we went by the open air market, which is always kind of unique just to see what they're selling, but also just the vibe of the place.
So we have stopped at that open market before. They sell like t-shirts and little Caribbean dresses and hats and jewelry, and artisans have some of their wares. So it's kind of fun to shop around and browse a little bit, and maybe you want to pick something up and maybe you don't. We didn't, so we moved on.
Right. Now, it takes a 5-10 minute taxi ride to get to downtown, but everything is really compressed. So just on the other side of this market is the Fort Christian. And I have to say, walking up to it, it led me to think this is going to be an amazing, amazing place. We went to the front gates, and it was just $10 to get in. So we paid our money, and we went in. And it was good, but it wasn't kind of what I was thinking.
No, there was no like tour, whether it was, with the little earbuds doing an audio tour, and there wasn't any staff there to give you a tour. So you just sort of walked around, and we didn't really know which direction we were supposed to move in, and we didn't really 100% know what we were looking at. There were a few placards to read, and that was sort of it. And then we ended up wandering into an area that was for staff only accidentally. The people were really nice, but they're like, no, but you can go up on the roof.
Right.
So we did that, which was kind of cool.
The star of it was not the exhibits. I mean, as you said, some of it was interesting. A lot of it just felt like it was like kind of half storage. But the star was the architecture and the view from the roof.
We started down in the dungeon,
right,
actually, which was like, oh, okay, let's start in the dungeon. But you're right, ending up on the roof was the best idea because, like you said, the view is spectacular. I will say, if you're taking children here, hold on to them because there wasn't like safety railings up there on the roof, so just be careful of that.
So was it worth $10? I would say yes. I don't know if...
I would say no, but hey, you be the judge.
Okay, $4.50 would have been a good deal. I don't know.
$5.
$5, but for me, I was happy to have gone to the place, looked around, and learned a little bit more about all the centuries, the history over the course of the centuries. When we did leave the fort, we had plans to do a number of other places, but as we said, it was very hot and very humid. So we looked on the map and there were a couple places very close to the fort. So we went to the original Lutheran church, and you couldn't go inside, but it was really nice to look around outside and see the architecture. And really close to these two areas, they also have a park called the Emancipation Garden.
So this park was created to commemorate the single most important event in the island's history, which was the emancipation of enslaved people. And that was on July 3rd, 1848. And it was right here in this area that the Emancipation Proclamation was read by the Danish governor. So that's a big celebratory moment, I think.
Yes, the park is a little underwhelming for such a big moment, but again, you just can feel the history, and you just have to put yourself back in that time in 1848 to feel the weight of what was going on. And at least they have the whole area reserved as a memorial to that event.
Like Marshall said, it was a hot day, so we decided to go back to the ship. So we did pay for the $6 taxi per person again. So now we're up to $28. But I did want to say that if you did want to eat downtown, there are lots of places to eat a meal. And we have been to this little Italian restaurant called Cafe Amici. I think that's how you say it. And that was very good. It wasn't this time, it was another time, but we can vouch that it was good food.
All in all, I think being a really hot, humid day, for us to capture 400 years of history and spending less than $30 to do it was definitely a win.
So if you've been to St. Thomas, or maybe you live in St. Thomas, and you can think of places that we should go next time, because we are going back fairly soon. So let us know, because we always want to check out new places. And if you would like to see another walking tour we did, similar but different, was we did a walking tour of San Juan. So you might want to check that out. So we'll put it over here for you. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
Take care.